panel and NewsNation contributors. Denise Gitsham, and former Republican candidate for Congress in the state of California, and Kurt Bardella, the Democratic strategist. As I said, both are NewsNation contributors. Denise, you want to take this first? I'll put up the headline here from The Hill. RFK Jr. seeking a major boost with this VP announcement. You know, as I said, ballot access is one thing, but also maybe some cash, depending on who he picks, coming to the campaign. You have any predictions, or what do you think is going to happen, Denise?
Yeah, I think that if it's Nicole Shahan, obviously It's going to be helpful to his ability to self-fund. But even if it's not, it still gets him on 26 states where he needs to have a VP in order to be on the ballot. And picking a VP in and of itself shows how serious he is about moving forward. So this is all a win for him. And these conversations that are rumored to be having, I guess he's having with the Libertarian Party, also helps just boost that image of I'm in it to win it. Even if he knows that he's not going to win, he's going to make a huge difference one way or another. Right, and that to the point that Brooke was making, Kurt, that would get him on all the ballots probably. But right now, we'll look at this piece in the Daily Beast about RFK Jr.'s unnamed VP pick could pose a problem, it says, in Nevada. And that's kind of interesting because when you start looking at all of this and the way this all works, there's a requirement in Nevada that the candidates in their petitions have to include the name of both a presidential candidate and a VP candidate. So he got all the signatures there, and I guess they might not be valid because he didn't have a VP candidate. So it shows you how tough it is if you don't have a party behind you, you know?
Well, it also just shows like there's just some core competencies in running for president of the United States. You cannot just scotch tape a presidential campaign together and expect it all to go smoothly. And nothing is more fundamentally important to any campaign, in my opinion, than appearing on the actual ballot. And so the fact that this campaign didn't make sure that their first priority was literally dotting their I's, crossing their T's, and making sure they qualified and were doing the things that you need to do to qualify to be on the ballot, it kind of tells you that this isn't actually about winning the presidency. This isn't about seriously competing to win. This is about being a spoiler. And I think that's the point that the Democrats are starting to make. It's why they've put together this coalition within the Democratic Party to start really going after Bobby here and point out that, hey, listen, bottom line is a vote for Kennedy is a vote for Trump. That's how they're playing.
But that spoiler, that's a real issue because, you know, I have to say like a broken record on this, but it doesn't take much, right? Well, Kurt, I'll start with you and then Denise weigh in on this. Democrat first, then Republican. Who's worried about this? Are you dismissive of the Kennedy effect, or you think that there's something the Democrats are right to be worried about, Kurt?
Democrats are right to be worried, if only because, again, 2020 was the most robust turnout in election political history. There's nowhere to go but down from there. No matter where you are on the ideological spectrum, you kind of know how you feel about Donald Trump and Joe Biden at this point. So it comes down to turnout. It comes down to that very narrow and getting narrower group of voters you might be able to persuade. Well, if there's a third party like Kennedy with the world's most famous political name involved, that eats into those persuadable potential voters. That makes that pie a lot smaller. That makes his impact that more outsized. I think that's why Democrats are taking this very seriously.
Yeah, those numbers, 41 Trump, 39 Biden, and 10 for RFK Jr., Denise, are interesting, but I think even more interesting to dive into some of these states. So whereas Kurt says Democrats are worried, I think maybe there are certain states where Republicans should be a little bit worried, where, you know, it could take from Trump. I mean, ideologically, they're similar on some issues. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's entirely possible. I mean, the issue right now is that in a three-way poll, everything is shown that it's really Biden that suffers more than Trump every time Bobby Kennedy gets up there and is held, you know, neck to neck with all of them. Also, it's really interesting that younger voters under the age of 45 are going for RFK in significant percentages. And of course, because Democrats always presume that they're going to have the youth vote, which isn't proven to be true based on polling now. Actually, Trump is winning a lot of the youth vote as well, but not quite as much as Biden expects to. This is obviously a much bigger threat, which is why you're seeing Democrats do things like put up big billboards in Michigan about how their donors are the same. You know, Trump's and Bobby Kennedy's donors are the same. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things going on. But one thing you're not seeing is Republicans sweat it at this point, because right now the threat seems to be flowing our way, you know, his way.
For now, yeah. I would be careful about that. You never know, because, again, there's on certain issues that they're similar on that he could have an impact. In Michigan, by the way, I think you might want to watch Cordell West, because there could be a couple percentage points there if he ever gets on that ballot. So it's a very interesting Michigan. All right, that's an issue for Democrats and to some extent for Republicans, but to Denise's point, maybe it is more so for Democrats. For Republicans, you know, one of the big things that they have to look at now is where we talk about it all the time. Where's the Nikki Haley vote go? Where's the never, quote unquote, never Trump vote go?